already doing deals. Like they're trying to give you a free tire change. They're trying to give you a free car wash and all types of stuff to get out to these games. This is wild. Look at how empty this arena is. Look at how empty it is. The cheapest ticket, $6.
Okay, this is absolutely wild. WNBA playoff tickets, yes, the postseason, the crown jewel of any basketball league, are selling for as little as $6. $6. You heard that right. That's not a typo. That's not some flash sale gimmick. That's cheaper than a Chipotle burrito with extra guac. Cheaper than 2 fancy coffees. Cheaper than parking outside the arena. $6 gets you through the turnstiles at a WNBA playoff game, a stage that's supposed to be the pinnacle of women's basketball. And here's the kicker. Those aren't just nosebleeds in the rafters. You can find lower bowl playoff seats for the price of a drive-through meal.
WNBA is in a panic right now. The WNBA higher-ups are panicking. They don't know what's going to happen. I already let y'all know. I showed y'all the numbers that they was concerned about the playoff ratings and what they will be for the networks. They're concerned about it already. No Caitlin Clark here to carry everybody. They don't know how these numbers are going to look. Tickets are they're already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets.
But the real headline? Caitlin Clark isn't on the court. She's not in uniform dazzling fans with logo threes or threading passes that belong on SportsCenter. She's in sweats, sitting on the bench. And just like that, the entire basketball ecosystem, especially the WNBA's, has been flipped completely upside down. Who do you think is to blame for this mess? Let us know down in the comments below.
In this back and forth from all the WNBA players that the league is not just Caitlin Clark. Stop acting like the league is not just Caitlin Clark. There are other people who are doing things. So Caitlin Clark has been injured, so she hasn't been playing. Since Caitlin Clark went down, the WNBA ratings have dropped over 55%.
Yikes.
Across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark.
This isn't just a story about ticket prices. It's a cautionary tale about value, about mismanagement, and about how fragile this league really is without the player who put it back on the map. The Indiana Fever were printing money when Clark was healthy. Her games weren't just popular. They were cultural events. People flew across states to watch her in person. They paid resale prices north of $1,000 just to sit in the building. Courtside, try $4 or $5 grand for a seat. She turned Indiana into basketball's hottest ticket, leapfrogging the Pacers in their own city and selling out road venues that had never even sniffed that kind of demand. Now, the same tickets are being sold for pocket change. You could pay for entry with the coins rattling around in your car's cup holder. You could grab 2 playoff tickets and still have money left for a hot dog. The same franchise that saw fans mortgage their wallets just to be in the same building as Clark is now practically begging people to come.
It's understandable in this era to figure that tickets for playoff games are more expensive than the regular season, but Fever tickets for Tuesday night remain very affordable. $12, $13. I don't know what they're going to lie about as far as attendance goes. We're going to get into that momentarily. There are tons of tickets, hundreds of tickets available, if not thousands of tickets still available for tonight's game at a cheap price of a hoagie sandwich and a bag of chips from Wawa.
And the collapse isn't subtle. We're talking about playoff basketball, the games that should be the height of demand. And yet courtside seats are going for $200. $200. That's the kind of money you'd expect to pay for a high school state championship game, not the WNBA postseason. The contrast is so sharp it's almost comical. 1 minute, Indiana is basketball's hottest destination. The next, they can't even give tickets.
In a frenzy right now. The cash cow is not available to play. The golden goose is not available right now. That is Caitlin Clark. So now everyone has to get their numbers on their own. We saw Caitlin Clark bring in a whopping 1.8 million viewers for her first playoff game versus the Connecticut Sun last season. That was more than all of the other playoff games that was played that day combined. more than all of the other playoff games played that day combined.
This, my friends, is the Caitlin Clark effect. Proof of just how much one player can alter the entire trajectory of a sport. When Clark was healthy, Fever home games averaged more than 17,000 fans, breaking records left and right. That's not just impressive, that's transformative. To put it in perspective, she outdrew multiple NBA teams in attendance. Opponents scrambled to move their games into bigger arenas just to keep up. The Washington Mystics moved from a 4,200-seat gym to a 14,000-seat NBA arena. The Chicago Sky ditched their 10,400-seat home to play Clark's Fever in the United Center, packing in over 20,000. Think about that. An entire league reshaping its schedule, changing its venues, and cashing in, all because of one player.
Last year, the cheapest ticket available to see the Indiana Fever at the Connecticut Sun in the first round of the 2024 WNBA playoffs, $133. Let's just say it's not near that expensive this year. It's not. So right there, Indiana Fever just had Caitlin Clark cut a WWE promo.
But then came the gut punch. On September 4th, Clark officially announced she'd be out for the rest of the year with a groin injury. And just like that, the energy evaporated. It was as if someone flipped off the lights on the Fever's season. Their September 16th playoff game, their first postseason home appearance since 2016, should have been a moment of celebration, a crowning achievement for the franchise. Instead, it turned into a brutal reminder of just how dependent they are on one player.
You can get courtside seats for $200. It is $200 to go sit courtside. Second row courtside behind the basket is $200. 1 to 3 tickets. It is $200 to sit courtside this game. This is in fact the cheapest. It is cheaper to go to this Fever game. This is the cheapest it's been to get into the Fever all year. Why? Why is it the cheapest?
Fans who once camped outside arenas just to watch Clark warm up are now scrolling past $6 playoff seats like they're expired coupons. What was supposed to be a packed electric environment became a half-empty room echoing with what ifs. The message couldn't be louder. Without Clark, the magic disappears. And it doesn't stop at the box office. Clark's absence sends shockwaves through every corner of the WNBA. TV ratings, merchandise sales, media coverage, all of it takes a nosedive without her. When Clark sat out 5 games earlier this season, viewership didn't just dip, it cratered. The league lost 55% of its audience overnight. Games that normally pulled in over 1 million viewers suddenly struggled to hit 350,000. That's not just a slip, that's a collapse.
The last time the Indiana Fever posted a video of Caitlin Clark talking was almost a month ago. But they know who they need to post when it's time to sell tickets. Damn! Putting CC front and center only when it's time to sell tickets. Oh boy. Oh boy. And we're talking about the tickets, folks. Don't hate the player, hit the game. I'm just a lonely messenger. That's it. Look at these ticket prices. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Look at these ticket prices. $13, $12, $55 for section 100, $27, $147 for section 5, $55 for section 19, $330 for courtside seats.
Even the All-Star Game, the WNBA's supposed crown jewel of the summer, took a huge hit. Clark was supposed to captain a team, headline the festivities, and elevate the entire weekend into must-watch territory. Instead, sidelined by injury, she missed it, and viewership tanked by 36%. Imagine showing up to a concert where Beyoncé was supposed to perform, only to find out she canceled. Sure, the backup acts might be talented, but let's be real, you're not staying. That's what the WNBA looks like without Caitlin Clark. And here's where it gets even more sobering for Indiana. They've built their entire identity around her. The offense runs through her. The marketing campaigns center on her. She's the reason ESPN highlights Fever games in primetime. Without her, they're trying to convince fans to get excited about Kelsey Mitchell's 20 points per game, or Aaliyah Boston's steady dominance in the paint, or Lexi Hull's hustle plays. Those are elite players, no doubt, and deserve all the recognition, but the market has spoken, and it's speaking in the language of $6 tickets and empty seats.
But I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but not like this. This news is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA.
This isn't just an Indiana problem. This is a league-wide reckoning. The WNBA has long begged for mainstream relevance. They've tried rebrands, slogans, endless "the future is now" campaigns. But nothing worked until Caitlin Clark walked through the door. She was their lightning in a bottle. She was their chance to finally break through. And instead of protecting her, instead of cherishing her, they left her vulnerable to cheap shots, bruising defense, and incompetent refereeing until her body finally broke down. Now they're seeing the result. The postseason, which should have been the league's biggest showcase, has turned into an embarrassment. Ticket prices at rock bottom. TV ratings poised to nosedive. A league that had momentum suddenly staring into the abyss. And the worst part? It's self-inflicted. Clark's absence isn't just bad luck, it's the consequence of negligence. The WNBA had their golden goose, and they treated her like just another bird. And the price tag on that mistake is written in bold across those ticket sites: $6 playoff seats.
Teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are some the league is afraid that there are some teams' games where you could get into the playoff game for $6. That is how low some of these ratings might be and how low some of these ticket prices might be.
Let's zoom out for a second because this entire mess reveals something the WNBA never wanted to say out loud. They need Caitlin Clark more than they've ever needed any player in their history. This isn't LeBron James leaving Cleveland and watching the Cavaliers tumble back to irrelevance. No, this is even more dire. This is the discovery that your entire business model, your entire wave of momentum, and your entire identity as a league rests on the shoulders of one 23-year-old point guard who was left unprotected until her body finally broke down. The numbers don't lie. The WNBA experienced unprecedented growth in 2024, and almost all of it was tied to Clark. Attendance jumped a whopping 48% year over year. 54 games sold out, a record that blew away everything that came before. The average crowd swelled from just 6,615 in 2023 to more than 9,000 in 2024. For a league that had struggled for decades to attract consistent audiences, this was nothing short of a miracle. Television told the same story. Multiple networks reported shattered ratings records whenever Clark was involved. She wasn't just a star on the court. She was the gravitational force dragging women's basketball into the mainstream.
But Caitlin Clark was first. You know what would have also put asses in seats? Indiana Fever clearing Caitlin Clark to play the game of basketball. That would have done it. I promise you. I promise you that would have done it. Again, I believe we deserve to know who ordered the code red. It's a lot different if it is Caitlin Clark and her people believe that, and her medical team believe that she could not play. If it was Stephanie White in the Indiana Fever, I believe that changes everything, as far as I'm concerned.
But here's the problem. When your league's growth depends so heavily on one player, what happens when that player can't play? The answer is sitting right there in the empty rows and the $6 playoff tickets. The flip side of all that record-breaking growth is brutal fragility. The WNBA's house was built on one pillar, and the second that pillar cracked, the entire structure started shaking. The timing of Clark's injury couldn't have been worse. This was supposed to be the league's victory lap. They were in the middle of an expansion phase, rolling out plans for new franchises and preparing for an 11-year, $2.2 billion media rights deal set to kick in by 2026. Player salaries were under negotiation, corporate sponsors were lining up, and for the first time, the WNBA had the kind of momentum that could push it into the same cultural conversation as other pro leagues. But then their brightest star, the player responsible for nearly 27% of the league's entire economic activity, was ruled out right before the playoffs. Imagine a restaurant earning its first Michelin star, the reservations book overflowing, only for the head chef to call in sick on opening night. That's the kind of gut punch we're talking about here.
It's $9. This is the cheapest it's been to get into an Indiana Fever game all year. This is actually the cheapest it's been. Look, I still think it's going to be nearly a sellout because I'm sorry, if I lived anywhere near Indiana, if it was 10 quid, I'd go to the game. I'd go to the game. I'd absolutely go to the game. I don't care. I'll pay $10. It's cheaper to be in the arena watching the game than it is to sit at home. Probably more expensive than it would cost to go to to pay for one game on Fever Direct, I'd say, if that's a thing.
And fans, the ones who drove all that growth, they wasted no time in showing where their loyalty really was. These weren't casual observers, they were diehards. They traveled from across the country to Indiana. They snapped up jerseys by the truckload. They built their summers around her schedule. Yet when Clark was definitively ruled out of the postseason, they voted with their wallets. Courtside seats for $200? Pass. General admission for $6? Maybe, if nothing else is going on that night. The foundation of the WNBA's so-called golden era was exposed in one fell swoop. It wasn't the league as a whole driving the demand. It was Clark. This isn't a knock on the Fever's other stars. Kelsey Mitchell dropping 20 a night deserves respect. Aaliyah Boston battling inside deserves praise. But the market is cruel. And the truth is fans connect with individuals, not abstract ideas of competitive balance. They want to see greatness. And for the last 2 years, Caitlin Clark has been the living, breathing definition of greatness in women's basketball. Her absence revealed just how shallow the league's broader appeal really is without her.
So, like a lot of people, I started following the WNBA. And I'm sorry, I hate to sound cliche, but it is because of Caitlin Clark. I flew my family to Indy to catch the game opener, and it was just such an amazing thing to see. We fell in love with the city. We, of course, also fell in love with the Pacers, and we followed every game since.
For Indiana, the lesson is even more painful. The franchise built its entire identity around Clark, as they should have. They drafted her first overall. They restructured their entire system around her style. She wasn't just a piece of the puzzle, she was the puzzle. And yet, they allowed her to play through nagging injuries all season, watching her endure repeated hard fouls, dangerous off-ball hits, and referees who looked the other way. Every time she missed games, the drop in attendance and viewership was immediate. That should have been the wake-up call. Instead, they pushed her through, and now they're dealing with the cost of short-sighted management. The harsh reality is that the WNBA's recent growth, while impressive on paper, may not be nearly as stable as it seemed. When a single player's absence causes this much of a collapse, 55% dips in TV ratings, 36% plunges in all-star viewership, $6 playoff seats, that isn't sustainable, it's fragile, it's temporary, and it leaves the league vulnerable in ways that no press release can spin away.
Is a superstar from top to bottom. You never seen a woman shoot the ball like that or pass the ball like that and has that fire. You downplay it, you diminish it, you try to kill it. You almost killed it, but thank God Caitlin Clark is a strong human being. But the fact that they're trying to replace her with someone subpar talent, subpar in entertainment value is ridiculous, and try to give credit to those who don't really deserve credit and try to have players to be the face who aren't really the face. The one thing about the face of the league, it's not chosen by the league, it's chosen by the fans.
Those empty seats tell a story. They tell us that the WNBA doesn't have a deep reservoir of stars who can keep the fire burning. They tell us that the league needs Caitlin Clark far more than Caitlin Clark needs the league. Without her, playoff basketball in Indiana isn't an event. It's an afterthought. Fans follow greatness, and the WNBA only has one player right now who fits that description in the eyes of the mainstream. For 2 seasons, Caitlin Clark has been the special ingredient that made the WNBA finally taste like a major sports league. Without her, they're back to bland. Those $6 tickets aren't just cheap seats. They're an indictment, a flashing red light that screams, "This league built its entire future on a single star and never created a plan B." So the question isn't whether this is wild. It absolutely is. The real question is whether the WNBA and the Fever will learn from it. Will they finally treat Clark like the generational superstar she is, not just in marketing slogans but in protection on the court and actual investment in her health? Or will they keep pushing her body past its limits, praying she holds up, and risk losing everything the second she doesn't? Because right now, Gainbridge Fieldhouse's empty seats are already writing the story. And unless the league changes course, those empty seats will become the lasting image of what should have been the WNBA's golden era. Who do you think is to blame for this mess? Let us know down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.